Once again, coming to you live in the middle of the walk. Hopefully it's not bouncing too much for you. If so, just please go ahead and don't watch, just listen. So, beauty from ashes for this week. I've always been asthmatic. As a kid, I was diagnosed as being allergic to I don't know how many things under the sun. Anything that's green that grows, anything that has fur or hair, I'm just allergic to it. And asthma is generally my go-to response. So, as a kid, trying inhalers. I remember I was showing up at the doorstep one day, just couldn't breathe. It was so scary. Couldn't get any more air in. I was going to die. And then I took a physiology course in college. And they told me about the nature of asthma. That's not about getting more good air in. It's like getting the bad air out. It's your flaps. They're congested in your lungs. They just can't release that bad air when you expel out. And so after that, I tried something. I tried forcing my air out instead of in, sometimes until I coughed. Felt like I was throwing up. But the good news is, I run most of the time without it. Well, I never use an inhaler, which, some people need it. And I respect that. But for me, I improve as I focus on not getting more good air in, but getting the bad air out. Well, this morning I was getting to my asthmatic point, which just come later and later in my showing up. Decided on that, super awesome. It's now towards the end of my walk or run, not the beginning. But listening to this song by Crandall, I think, called Made, about how soulmates aren't found, they're made. And whether it's your soulmate, your spouse, your relationships, your friendships, a family, whoever, it talks about the construction process and the endurance process and the choice process involved in creating good, lasting relationships. I think so often relationships is like an asthma. We feel like we just need to get more air, good air in. We need the other person to keep feeding us and fueling us with positive energy and thoughts. Just thinking of us. Come on, don't you see that we're struggling to breathe over here? When really, over time I've noticed with my asthma that the more I force the bad air out, the stronger my lungs become and the more good air I can let in. And so same with our relationships. We feel like someone else needs to just feed us and fuel us and really we need to get that bad air out, which is ownership of our part of the relationship. What are we doing? What is the truth of our relationship? Are we putting assumptions on that person of what they expect out of our relationship, of what they think makes a healthy relationship? We expect them to keep filling us with good air because we can't breathe and we're struggling in that relationship. When I feel like the more I turn to Christ lately and to God, you can turn to your place of inner peace. I've heard about it with meditation, positive connectivity to the universe, however you want to look at it. The more you center on the good that is you and the good that is God or the universe, and how can you make your actions more aligned with what you feel is right, and then give grace to the other person, getting out that bad air, forcing out the resentment, forcing out those false expectations that honestly sometimes will just never be met by the person. So you fix it yourself. Had a conversation with my husband the other day, and I was telling him, I just don't feel worth it. I don't feel worth spending time with. I don't feel worth it's the time it takes. And in the context of that conversation, just sharing with him how I felt our relationship was struggling. But later, in a moment of clarity, I went to him and I said, you know what? Until I realize I'm worth it, there's nothing on earth you can do to make me feel that I'm worth it. It has to be me choosing that I'm worth it, that I'm worth time, that I'm worth attention, that I'm worth love. And then when I can open my heart to that, then people can love me. I feel like God's been banging on my umbrella saying, put your umbrella away, let the blessings fall. Referencing Luke Doris talk about blessings. That there really is, it could be ironing out now, but this idea that there really are so many blessings raining down on us, both from heaven and other places. There's lots of air to breathe in out there. We just got to get some of that bad air out first. So that's my beauty from ashes this morning. That if you feel like you're in a wasteland in your relationships with anybody, you're just struggling to breathe and to feel like you existing is such a challenge, then I encourage you to really sincerely look to heaven to say, how can I get this bad air out? How can I force it out? And sometimes it's painful. Sometimes when I'm forcing that bad air out, it's like So I feel like I'm throwing up almost sometimes. And honestly, so I had so many kids, this might be TMI some of you. I start leaking out on places I'd rather not leak out, just because I'm forcing so much energy into getting that bad air out. It's almost like you hear someone who has a smoking addiction and they're trying to breathe and you hear them coughing and retching. And it's kind of what it sounds like sometimes. But I know that if I can get that better out, then I can take a nice big deep breath in and it feels so good. And so that's my thought from this week, that if you are having those kind of relationships, you've got to get those bad thoughts out. You got to expend them, get them out, even if it feels painful and awkward and gross. But you just got to get those out and own your part in the relationship. See with clarity the truth of the relationship. Maybe that's never what the other person expected. But you need to own how you're seeing it and how you're acting in that relationship, because that's the only way you're going to let that good air in, is by forcing all those bad thoughts out and acknowledging your part and your weaknesses and your strengths too, and the good things that are in your relationship. And sometimes I'm just pleading, God, please open my eyes, I can see the good, because I don't see it. And it's like Corrie ten Boom in The Hiding Place, when she's at the end there, she's an SS officer in front of her, and he's like, isn't it beautiful that God said that we can be forgiven? And he was the SS officer that really abused Betsy, her sister, who later died in the concentration camp. And Corrie talks about seeing the SS officer and all those feelings of rage and horror and frustration, anger at this man. And he raises his arm to shake her hand, and she's like, oh, I can't raise my hand to shake his hand. God, please give me your forgiveness. And it's like she felt a tingling of energy go through her arm, and she raised her hand. It was electrifying as she joined hands with the SS officer. So I know there can be beauty from ashes, even if you feel like you're stuck in a place where there can't be any more beauty. There can be beauty from ashes. You just have to keep getting that bad air out. So checking out for this time. Hope this helps someone. Love y'all. Take care.